Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the university. I was wondering how many of you have heard about the National Benchmark Test or the Nationale Normtoets. Have any of you heard of it? Okay, so I don't know if that's good or bad, but there's a lot of confusion regarding the National Benchmark Test. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the benchmark test at the University of Pretoria, how we use it, why we use it, and who needs to write the test. Hopefully at the end of this evening you will have a little bit more clarity on this test. You see, that's the problem, a lot of confusion. There's a lot of tests, admission tests, different tests. For the University of Pretoria, I'm going to tell you how we work. This is the outline of the presentation, so it's a benchmark test, the structure, who needs to write, how we register, and how we use the results. Now, the National Benchmark Test was commissioned by HESA. Now, HESA is all the regulatory higher education of South Africa bodies that decide and said, well, we have a National Senior Certificate that's new. How are we going to measure and what are we going to say? How's the quality of the National Senior Certificate? So they developed or commissioned the development of the National Benchmark Test. So it was designed to assist in interpreting school leaving results, such as the National Senior Certificate, for higher education. It provides additional information to assist with the placement of students in appropriate routes. So this is regular routes versus support programs or extended programs. We are actually measuring the ability to transfer understanding of academic literacy, quantitative literacy, and mathematics to the demands of higher education. I will explain those domains to you a little bit later. And at the University of Pretoria, it is currently our institutional test. So whenever you hear about the institutional test or the preferred test, it is the National Benchmark Test. And we use it specifically in selection programs and for admission purposes. Now, academic literacy refers to the capacity to engage and successfully understand the demands of the academic study in the medium of instruction. So this is your Afrikaans or English and how you understand instruction. You'll be surprised at how little students understand instruction when they get to university. So it's quite an important element in being successful and to progress at the university is to be academically literate. Quantitative literacy refers to understanding tables, interpreting graphs, a little bit more of abstract reasoning. It's not mathematical, but it's skills that you have to use to understand information that's in a different context. Mathematics is based on the mathematics curriculum, so this is a curriculum test. It's related to the school mathematics, and obviously only students that have mathematics or applying to programs that we require mathematics need to write the mathematical test. The NBT consists of two tests. So the first test is the academic and quantitative literacy test. It is one test. It's got multiple choice, and it's about 3.5 hours to complete. Then there's the additional mathematics test. As I said, not all the students have to write the second test. It also takes about 3 hours, and it's a curriculum-based test. No calculators. We are testing how well you're interpreting your NSC mathematics curriculum. Now, who should write the test? As Dr. Klase has mentioned, for selection purposes, specifically health sciences and veterinary sciences, all the students need to write this test. It is part of the selection process, which means after the closing date, we take all the applications, we wait for you to write your NBT by a certain date. There are also closing dates for that. And after we've received all the information, we do mathematical rankings, and then we take the top. That's how selection works. So we take a very small group of students that actually end up in health sciences. I can tell you that we received about 6,000 applications and only about 900 students have been placed in the whole faculty. So it is very, very selected. Students who apply with their grade 11 marks and maybe miss their APS with 1 point can write the NBT, and we may consider you based on the additional information. Now, I'm saying this because the faculty would ask you to write the test. It's not something that you do out of your own initiative. When you apply and you don't meet the requirements for a program, the faculty may say to you, go write the national benchmark test and we will look at that as additional information. All students that apply for 4-year programs or these extended programs also have to write the test, because the test is actually showing us if whether you need the support or what level of support the students need. So if you're considering going into an extended program or a 4-year program, it is important that you know that this is part of the admission requirements to write the test. Although it is recommended that the NBT is written later in the year because of the mathematics being a curriculum test, applicants that apply for health sciences need to write before a certain date, and veterinary sciences. And this is national. We have a consortium with all the health sciences schools of the different universities, and the majority of them have the same cut-off date of students to write the national benchmark test. So we all decided that usually in the first weekend of July, round about there, would be the last date that students can write for health sciences and veterinary sciences, and we use that as a cutoff. So after that date, we will not look at your results if you're applying for health sciences. Then, all prospective students, we are recommending that you write the test. It's a good idea because we can use it as additional information, especially if something happens to you in your grade 12 exam. If you've been provisionally admitted based on your grade 11 results, we tell you that you must still comply with the requirements in order to register. But something can happen. You can maybe have a bad exam or some family trauma or something, and then your results could be impacted. Whereas in those cases, we can look at the national benchmark test results and consider you based on that. So we use it as an additional source of information. It's important because all the universities, or the majority of the universities, supports this initiative. So it's a good idea to write the test. Some universities require all their students to write. The University of Pretoria, we either ask you, or it's part of the admission requirements for the extended and the 4-year programs, or if you apply for selection programs, it is part of the requirements. The registration procedure, it's wonderful. It has all been outsourced to the national benchmark test. The University of Pretoria do not coordinate or do not run our own test sessions. You have to go to the website, the national benchmark test website, which is on there, to book a date. All the registration information is on there, how to pay, how much it is, where can you write. It's a national venues. I think there are about 200 different stations where you can write, so that it is really providing for students to be able to write at different places. Then the results, which is also great, is that you would have access to your own results. It's not something that we keep hidden. Results are also released to students and to institutions. So the University of Pretoria get all the results of students that applied to us. We have access to that results, we access them automatically and we load them on our system. But you, as a writer, would also see what your results were. And I think it's nice because you can also then interpret your results in the light of how much support you would need. We do not communicate the results back to you. You can access that via the NBT website. And then the faculties use these results differently. And I also keep on emphasizing the University of Pretoria because this is a different story at other institutions. Other institutions use them also differently. The only thing that's a common factor is the NBT, but how it is used, you would have to make sure at the different institutions if you apply at other institutions. The results are presented in 3 levels. There's a basic level, an intermediate level, and a proficient level. So if you wrote the mathematics as well, you would have an AQ, a QL, and a mathematics score that is presented in this light. Now, basic means that you will have difficulty at higher education at a university. It means that the university has a high risk. We would have to support you extensively to get you through the academic programs. The intermediate group is students that we can support and we think that they have the potential and we will invest a little bit more in them in terms of time to be successful at university. And then the proficient group is the group of students that generally should be prepared for university. Given all other factors, they should technically be academically prepared to be successful at university. These are the performance levels. I've put it in the presentation because when you're home and you get your child's result, you can also interpret it in terms of this slide. This is how the benchmarks are set. They are set by the National Benchmark Test Project. Institutions are not involved in the marking or the scoring or anything of that. This has all been outsourced, and the validity and reliability of the test has been proven. For further information, Tanya Pollard, which is sitting there, it's my right hand, she coordinates the sessions for the University of Pretoria. So she is the contact person at the University of Pretoria, especially if you've got inquiries about whether you should write or not. The NBT would not be able to answer that. The NBT you can contact to book a session or to register, but in terms of questions related to whether you should write and what tests you should write, you're more than welcome to email or contact Tanya to answer those questions for you. I think that's it from my side. I hope that I've provided some clarity, or have I confused you even more? It's just the beginning. I mean, the university is such a big place. So much information, it's the beginning of confusion. I think Celissa Anthony is next. So, thank you very much.